Do you ever feel like everything in your life is just off? Like you've had to separate yourself so much that everything feels disjointed and not cohesive. And it leaves you this sense of wrongness in a way. I think, well, what is wrong? Like I have a beautiful life. I'm not in need, but something is just not quite right. You know, as a reflector, when these feelings come to me, right, and they show up in my own life, to me it's usually a reflection of what's happening on greater levels, on greater scale. And perhaps you're one of those people that are feeling that right now. Like, I'll give you an example. So last night I was really struggling with my social media. I have these parts of me that I feel like I have to choose certain parts in order to put on my feed, or else the algorithm gets confused, right? Like, okay, right now I'm working with women who are facing burnout and have maybe started to explore spiritual concepts, but are looking for ways to kind of reconnect back to themselves and their bodies, but they just don't know how to do it, and are experiencing health issues, right? I'm kind of drawing on my passions as a leader in women, and recognizing that this particular population of women are very burnt out and have been just stretching themselves thin for such a long time. I know I was one of them. And recognizing that as these women are starting to wake up to their connection, their inner wisdom, their intuition, their connection to their blood, to their womb, that they need some answers in that space, and how to live more cyclically, more rhythmically. And so that's who I'm working with right now. But my messaging has been really confusing. And I get that. Like, I feel that. And so, like, I get it. I haven't been able to find my people because I can't make up my mind where I want to be. But I guess my challenge has been, it's like, do I post my mindset stuff and get those people, or do I post my spiritual stuff? I'm a deeply spiritually connected person. I have in my personal practice, I have very deep connection to myself, to my womb, to my body. I have conversations with different aspects of self. I have, I move through ecstatic dance and vocalizations, and I do magic with my blood, and there is a whole nother side of me that I feel like if I put that out into the world, like putting that next to me in a blazer and Peppy Corey, who loves to talk about mindset shifts and confidence and all those things, because I love to talk about those things. But then there's this other side of me that also loves to talk about the cycles of life, and about menstruation and nature, and our ability to connect with ourselves through ritual and devotion. And it's like, presenting those, I had this challenge last night. I was like, how do I do that? They seem like such different people. I'm not. I'm just me. I also have my art. I'm a very expressive, creative person. And my art is usually very, connected to my spirituality and to nature. And but I also love freaking Taylor Swift. I love to shake my booty, and I love rock music, and I'm a multifaceted being. And my guess is that you are too. That you have all of these beautiful parts of you, but yet in the world outside of you, there's only one part of you that shows up. Is that true? I would love for you to think about that for a moment. Like, I invite you to kind of explore that idea. It's like, am I only showing one part of me out into the world? Am I hiding everything else? And it's not about, I'm not talking about sharing everything, but what I'm talking about is this like pulling apart, this separation that we've naturally done because we live in a world where social media, like if you're trying to reach people, right? If you're just using social media to I don't know, whatever, express yourself in a way or whatever, but you're not using it for a business, you're not using it for, like, if you have followers, great. If not, then also great. Like, it's not, right? But for those of us who are trying to build businesses or, desire to have a community of people, the rules have been guided telling us that you got to be consistent. You got to be consistent with your content because people, right? This is the thought that comes into my head. The people that want the mindset stuff are not the people who want the spiritual stuff. The people who want to lose weight. Maybe that's a false story that I've been telling myself. I'm aware of that, right? But I think this is a reflection of a higher space right now of where we're at as human beings. Like we are swimming. No, we're not swimming. We're drowning in separation right now. Take a look around. It doesn't take long for you to look around and see that we are living in an age of separation. That everything around us is telling us that we are unworthy, broken, separate from each other and from the earth, and mostly encouraging us to segregate, not to separate and segregate ourselves, like within ourselves. Think about that. There are entire industries that thrive and that exist because you believe, not you specifically, but they thrive on the belief that you are unworthy or not enough. Like, think about that. Like, what has marketing been for the entire last 30 years plus, right? More than that, really. Since World War II, it was really when marketing really took off. But certainly, when people started having TVs in their, everybody had TVs in their house and commercials and advertising, right? It became a very lucrative space. And so marketing has played on this thought of separation, that we are not complete unless we have this thing. We are not whole unless we do this thing. We are not enough unless we look a certain way. That's like literally what advertising is. That's what marketing is. Marketing is from a basic, very basic sense. It's that I'm counting on you to not feel good about yourself, so that way you will buy my shit. And what it's done is it's created an entire society of people who think we aren't enough, who always are looking outside of ourselves to feel whole, who are relying on external validation for... my chickens are very vocal this morning. A race of people who are relying on external things to fill holes that can only be filled within us. I'm guilty of it too. Like, don't get me wrong. This is my job as a reflector. Like, that's my job. My job is to observe what's happening in society and in my own life and to reflect it back out into the world and say, take a look. Isn't that what mirrors do? Mirrors, like, literally don't... It's not... The mirrors aren't judging. We're the ones who are judging. So if you're feeling triggered, then, that's, like, a part of it. And a part of it for me is that acceptance of myself. Like, that's what I was kind of alluding to, is this separation of self. I have not brought my reflector self into the spaces I have been in my business. I have a little bit, in little teeny tiny little snippets, but I definitely have not opened the floodgates of what I really want to be doing. Like, what I want to be doing is I want to be speaking. I just want to be sharing the things that I observe and planting the seeds for people to choose something different if they want or not. Like, that's not my job what they do with it. Once I share it, it's theirs. That's their business. But I haven't been leaning into that because I've been existing in a world that says you have to have a niche. You have to have one thing that you're doing. And it's fucking me up in my head. And it's causing me to feel this, like, feeling of emptiness and separation within myself because I'm not fully stepping into what I was created to do. And so, like, for you, like, think about your life. Where in your life are you compartmentalizing yourself? Where in your life are you not showing up fully, like, authentically? Where are you editing yourself? That is such a good question. Where am I editing myself? That's what I was writing about until midnight last night. Was like, how am I editing? I'm editing myself. I feel it. And do you know how I feel it? This is where the Ray's Anatomy comes in, okay? It's because the place where we feel it is in our bodies. We feel it in our bodies. And you're like, how? How do you feel it in your body? Well, all feeling comes from the body. But you might experience it different than I experience it. I know that I experience this feeling of separation through an actual feeling and sensation of disconnection. Like, I feel, as I would describe, like a talking head. My body goes numb. It's like being cut off from the neck down. I don't feel as much, like, physically. I'm not saying that I'm actually, like, numb, feeling like you would if your hand fell asleep, but I mean, these girls are being really loud. I'm sorry if all you hear is chicken. I might see if I can fix it so I can't hear them. So that way it's not as distracting for me. Okay. So this numb feeling is like, it might show up as challenges with orgasm. It might show up as cold feelings in your body. It might show up as even like just like a general not, feeling of emptiness when you do activities that you used to love. I think what I'm talking about here is literally at the core of depression, not gonna lie. Depression is a sickness of separation and of squashing down the things that make us who we are. Of course, there's more to it than that, but that from an energetic standpoint, that's when you're experiencing, if you think about the word, what is the word? Depression, like depress, like you are pushing down something. You are separating yourself. You're segregating yourself from the space of chicken. You gotta stop. Thank God. No, you gotta stop. Go. Quit. Go find somewhere else to be. No. Go. Go. Go find somewhere else to be. I can't handle it. And she comes right back. So if you're feeling that emptiness, right? If you're feeling that hollowness, or like what, this just like kind of going through the motions feeling, that's really what it is. It's like, it feels like you're just going through the motions of life. And even if you're doing something that's very deeply meaningful to you, you're not getting as much enjoyment from it as what you once did. That's the space I'm in right now. That's the space I'm in right now. I've been, I officially started coaching 6 months ago. And, well, a little bit more. Yeah, a little bit more than 6 months ago. But I really leaned into coaching, like one-on-one coaching at that point. And it's not that I don't love being with these women. I love being in a container with women. It's what I was here to do. I know that. But the actual part of the coaching, the things that happen behind the scenes, the building of the business to get, the structure of the way that I've been working to get clients is absolutely draining the fuck out of me. It is not fun. And it's not even not fun, like that. That sounds like such a childish word, like work is not fun. But for me, right, you have to come back to this like understanding of self. And this is why it's so important for you to understand yourself. Like, I highly recommend, if you haven't, like, get into human design, or get into numerology, or get into even just like self-reflection and journaling, because as you know yourself, you know what, when things are off. Like, I know that for me, when I am feeling blissed out, connected to my body, and like the world is just fucking incredible, right? Like, I know that's an indicator that I'm doing something right. Yes, life is still challenging. Yes, I still gotta do my dishes. Yes, I still gotta do my taxes. I still gotta do that stuff. But honestly, those things, they start to become just like, because of the state of being that I'm in, I'm feeling connected to the things that I'm doing. But I've been aware lately that I've been disconnected. I even just had a conversation because it's showing up in my relationship. Because that's what happens. The separation that we feel inside of us, it doesn't just stay inside of us. It shows up outside of us. And oftentimes, we think that it's the outside things that are causing the problem, but it's not. It's what's happening inside of us that's causing the problems. It's the separation we're experiencing inside ourselves that's causing the issues outside of us. So feeling separated in my business and my personal expression as my brand online, feeling separation and disconnection in my relationship. Also an indicator that I'm not connecting with myself inside. Now, granted, it's not horrible, But I guarantee you that if I continued on this path of continued disconnection, it would be there. I've been there. I've been in that place of depression. I've been in that place of utter separation from self. And that is not a place I want to go again. So for you, if you are feeling like, if you're resonating, you're saying, oh yeah, okay, I know what you're saying here. Like, I encourage you to start coming back and asking yourself the question in your journal. Where am I dimming myself? Where am I shoving my expression down? Where am I not fully living or expressing myself? Where am I not, what am I denying inside of myself? What am I keeping hidden? Because, like, no wonder most of us are walking around thinking that, like, I don't feel seen or heard, because we don't even see or hear ourselves. We won't even let those parts of ourselves come out. Just like what I was talking about with my social media. Like, I had something that I recorded yesterday, and it was a very challenging day yesterday. I lost a pet yesterday, one of my chickens, who was not just a chicken, she was my pet. Her name is Shasta, and she was an incredible animal, very curious, and was literally like she was like my little chicken dog. Like, she followed me around everywhere. She always knew where I was on the property. Anytime I came outside, she knew, and she'd come up and I would say that she was giving me the morning report, like Zazu from Lion King. But she would always come up and talk to me and then follow me around, and, I'd pick her up and I'd carry her around everywhere. And I had her for 2 beautiful years, but she got sick. And she lost a lot of weight, and she passed away yesterday. And I was overcome with grief. Waves and waves and waves and waves of grief washed through me yesterday. And, I would oscillate between moments of pain and gratitude, because those two things are just intrinsically connected when you love something or someone. When you care so deeply you can't have the love without the pain, right? It's there. They are both connected. That is one of the most extraordinary, beautifully, heartbreakingly beautiful aspects of being a human being, is the love and the pain together. Especially when it comes to loss, because you feel the love and then you also feel the pain of not having them there anymore. And so yesterday, I know, right, some things that I've learned about grief is that your grief is stored in your body, particularly in your hips and your womb. And because emotions are energy and our bodies. And I'm not going to get too far into that. If you have questions about how grief is stored in the womb, then shoot me a message and I'll tell you, and we'll have a conversation about it. But, or maybe I'll do a separate video on it. But I know that the way to move those big emotions through my body is through moving my body, and specifically moving my body in a cyclical way. Not in a linear way, not me running, not me lifting weights. That's not how I move grief, through my womb, right? My womb needs movement that is fluid and that is free form, and that allows me to move through the different stages of emotions that come. And for me, that's dance. That's what dance is. And it has been since I was a kid. Like, I would move to help me move through my feelings. And so I've come back to that practice as an adult, and it's changed my life. And so yesterday, right before I was about, like, I knew I was at a point in the day when I needed to move my body. I felt it. And so I have a playlist that I call it my I Love You playlist. And it's a playlist I've specifically curated to help me feel love from myself. Like it's literally like a love mixtape to myself. It's me hearing the things that I need to hear from the universe, from my body, from my soul, that says I love you and I care for you and I'm here. In moments when I'm hurting, that is medicine to me. And the songs that I've picked to be in that are very specific to me, that help me feel that love and that connection and that meaning inside of myself. I also know too that oftentimes that is an access point for me to dive into my emotions, to dive into the grief, to dive into the sorrow or the, what I'm feeling at the time. And so right before I was about to do it, I heard this voice. You need to record this. You need to show others what you're doing. You need to show others the medicine of movement. And I was like, okay. So I set my phone up and I pushed record. I had it flipped so I wasn't looking at myself. I did not want to see what I was doing. So I had the camera flipped so it was the back of the camera. So the phone was, facing the other direction because I wanted it to be just a witnessing. Like I didn't want to see what I was doing because I didn't want to feel self-conscious or something, But anyway, I flipped it, I put the music on and I started moving. And it was like, it's so quick at this point. Within 10 seconds of me moving, I was crying. Within 10 seconds of me moving, I was wailing, not crying, I was wailing. And so I did that. And I went through the whole thing. And there was moments when I was stomping my feet. There were moments when I was sitting down and crying. There were quiet moments, right? Moments when I was just looking out the window or sitting on the couch or just being for a moment as the waves, right? The waves of emotions were coming through me. And so after I was done, right, I felt the energy move and I was like, okay, I'm complete. And I turned the camera off and there it sat. And I've yet to post the video because I had this thought in my mind. I'm like, how is this going to make sense to people? Where's the context here? Because I literally had just posted a video two days ago about Body Love Bootcamp and about, doing weight loss differently and, my kind of really bubbly self. And then the next thing they see is me dancing and wailing. I'm like, oh my gosh, how is this going to make sense? People are going to be so fucking confused about what I'm doing. And so that was the ego part, right? That's the part of me that says you have to do one or the other. You either have to have an Instagram account where you're just dancing and doing all your spiritual work and doing all of your, nature stuff and your womb stuff and all of that stuff. Or you've got to have an account that's your professional self, your speaker self, your confidence coach, your lifestyle coach, your fast like a girl coach. There's this idea that I have to separate myself. And one would argue that that's probably a smart move. I should have one account that's here and one account here. But aren't you, this is what I woke up this with. And I was like, aren't you tired? Aren't you tired? That was the question I asked at the beginning. Aren't you tired of separating yourself? Aren't you tired of trying to show the world one version of you and leaving all of the rest behind? Aren't you tired of it? I am. Can I just be free to show all of me that I want to show? I want to show my dance. I want to show my leadership side. I want to show my chickens and my cats and my garden. And I also want to show my desire to uplift women and empower women to step into their own leadership. I want to show all of this. I want to show my art. I want to show, when I'm, freaking sad or whatever. I want to be able to show all of it. And so ask, how about you? Are you tired yet? Are you tired of separating yourself yet? Because I am. And if I am, then there's a good chance that you are too. There's a good chance that you are also tired of it, because that's my job. That's my role. I'm here to talk about the things that nobody wants to fucking talk about. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I am done editing myself. I am done trying to fit myself into a goddamn hole that I was not meant to be in. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. And so there are going to be a lot of people who are fucking confused as shit by who I am. They're going to be like, wait. Are you a lifestyle coach? Or are you like some weird spiritual teacher? Not weird, but, you know, are you a spiritual teacher? Those that are attracted to me as a lifestyle coach would probably think that my spiritual stuff was weird. And those that are more attracted to my spiritual stuff, they're going to be like, well, you sold out being a coach or being a confidence coach or whatever. Do you all see how ridiculous that sounds? Because I am me. I'm both those things. I'm all of those things and more. And so are you. You are not just one thing. You are not just a mom. You are not just a, person who works at a job. You are not just a teacher or a lawyer. You are not just, even a, spiritual person or whatever. There's so many facets of you. And so maybe I'm starting a revolution here where we are just coming out and saying, look, this is me. This is me. I'm all of this. And my message, I don't want to water my message down anymore. Like, I don't want to have to say, oh, well, I can't really talk about my spiritual stuff because I'm talking to a corporation. Fuck that shit. Fuck it. No, I'm done. Maybe there's liberation in that. Maybe there is liberation in that. Maybe I just, this is the beautiful part of self-reflection, that we come to that point of I'm tired of my own shit, right? And then what happens on the other side of that is we just break ourselves off from the chains that we've been putting ourselves in and the bondage that we've entrapped ourselves in. And we say, oh wait, I did that. I am fully admitting, nobody put me here. People are just telling me what to do based on what they know. But maybe we're here to start something new. Maybe I'm a part about it. Maybe you're a part of that. If you're here and you're listening and it's 35 minutes in and you're still listening, chances are, sister, that you are also a part of the new earth, of birthing this new way of being into existence. And the only way that you can do it is doing it yourself, is coming back to wholeness within you. Is instead of saying, I have to keep everything separate, you say, I get to bring everything together. I get to bring myself back together and weave back together the thread of who I am, and then bring that medicine to the world. That marketing now is not about, creating a hole that really didn't exist in the first place, and then selling a product that supposedly fills that hole that was never meant to be there in the first place. Now we're shifting into, you are already whole. And I have an invitation for you to explore the rabbit hole and see how far it goes. To share with you my unique viewpoint, my unique medicine, and with a product or a service or something that fills your life with beauty and wonder and encourages you to self-reflect and to also bring your medicine out into the world. Maybe it sounds ridiculous. Who's gonna fucking pay for that? I don't know. I've paid for shit because I've just wanted to know myself more. How many journals or artwork or painting like canvases or things that I have purchased because I just want to express myself. Like, it's out there. It's just how we're saying shit. There's a lot in this video. I don't even know what I'm going to call this video. Because this is what happens. Because we're just sitting here having a conversation. And I hope that you will also reflect some things. What were moments in this video that you felt connected to? Please share it. Because this is a conversation. This is not just the Corey show. Like, that's my job as a mirror. My job as a mirror is just to say the things. But it's you that brings it to life. It's you that reflects that back with words or with insights. And it becomes this beautiful, like, ebb and flow of expansion. So if there's something here that you resonated with, please post in the comments. You know, as it stands right now, the algorithms work is like, oh, if people engage with content, then it must be content worth watching, right? And so I understand that. I can't do this by myself. That's, I think, one of the problems that I've been having is I've been thinking I've had to do this by myself. And because of that, that's why I've curated myself or separated myself out, because I thought that I had to make it work. But maybe it's not that. Maybe it's not me. Maybe it's you. Maybe as I show up more fully as myself, I give you permission to also show up fully for yourself, as yourself. You are an extraordinary human being with so many beautiful parts of you. And the moment that you bring all those parts together and you say, this is me, and you share it with the world, something really beautiful happens. And it's not just what the world gets, it's what you also receive in the process. You receive this beautiful space of wholeness and love and peace. It's incredible. That emptiness, that itchiness of discomfort, it starts to dissipate. The more that you share your truth about who you are with the world, suddenly you don't feel disconnected anymore. You suddenly feel at peace. So maybe ask yourself today, where have I been dimming myself? Please get a journal. Write these down. Yeah, pause the video if you need to. But sorry, there's a bald eagle right there, and I'm watching just to make sure it didn't come over here to try to get my chickens. But yeah, coming back to the journal. Ask yourself, where have I been dimming myself to fit in? Where have I been holding myself back and not expressing myself fully? I invite you to explore what that feels like in your body. What does it feel like? Ask yourself, what does that feel like? What does it feel, or can you even feel it? And do you want it to be different? How can you bring yourself more fully into this space? How can you open up when the world tells you to shut yourself and to separate yourself? Please remember that your experience, your light, that's the medicine. That's your medicine. It's through your unique light, your perspective, your joys, your things, the things that you love, and in stepping into that space, that is what heals the world, because then you light up from within. You are an incredible human being. And you are so worthy of living a vibrant, connected, meaningful, purposeful life. Sending you a big hug and letting you know that I love you. And you are made for extraordinary, beautiful, wonderful things.